Hey guys, welcome to another WoW video, and for today's video I am gonna finally go do the last secret item that I need. I'm a big fan of doing all the secret items in WoW, and I've put this one off for two reasons. One, I knew it was super long for a process. And then the second reason is because it's a transmog, and I usually do these kind of things for like mounts and pets. But after doing this, I realized I should have done this a long time ago. This is an amazing transmog. So this right here is what you will get as a reward by doing these steps for this secret. It is a clock belt. And it's super awesome. It actually reminds me of, this is, going back quite a few years. But when I was a teenager, like 13, maybe 14 years old, I used to wear those rings. I don't know if any of you guys remember them, but they were rings that had a clock on them, and yeah, I would use it as a watch. They're like watch rings. I don't know what they really called them, but I loved those. So this I had to go after once I realized exactly what it was, because I always knew that it was called the waste of time, but I guess I just never bothered looking to see what it looked like. So today I'm going to show you how to get this. One thing I would like to mention right at the beginning of this video, just so none of you guys are wasting your time literally with this secret, no pun intended there, but there is one thing in particular you need to have done before even starting to go after this, and that is the Baal pet. So if you have not done the secret that leads you to obtaining the Baal pet, you will need to do that. This is entirely unobtainable to you without Baal. So I will link my Baal how-to video at the end of this one. So if you still need to do that, just fast forward to the end of this video and my video will pop up at the end and you can just check it out there. And for the rest of you that have gotten Baal, let's get started. There's a couple of things that you have to get to prep for all these steps first. So let's go over that. You're going to want to do Kara. I chose to do Kara first because it's the longer process of all the items you'll need. It doesn't take long at all to do Kara, but you will need to do it. So this is going to be the original Kara raid. You're doing majority of the raid, to be completely honest. So you're going to go all the way to the chess event, but you don't have to do the chess event. You just need to be in the room just before that. There'll be a room that opens the door to the chess event. Over to the side of the room, there's a vendor over there. And he sells you the formula enchant ring, striking a pattern that used to exist. It's now a gray. And these first four items are gonna be grays. So one thing I will say is that you might want to turn your sell junk off just so you don't accidentally vendor them. I didn't. I've said in some other videos that I don't like turning off my sell junk. So what I did is since I hearthed out after this, I just popped it into the bank immediately, and I did that with all my grays along the way. I just immediately put it in the bank, and then I wouldn't have to worry about anything. So that is the first thing you're going after. Really easy. Your second item is going to be called the Proximos Rudius, which is a one-handed sword, and this can be found out in the Outlands. It'll be Nagrand. You're going to go to Hala, and Aldrin sells the sword if you're Alliance, and if you're on a Horde character, Coriel has it.
You wish to buy? Trade?
So for your third item, you're going to be going to the Old Dalaran, so Lich King's Dalaran. You'll fly over to Grizzly Hills. You can go to the Amberpine Lodge, and your vendor will be at 35.55. So it will actually be Aspen Grove Trader that you're buying this item from. One key note here is, as you can see, I swapped characters to do this part. The reason is because my druid does everything in the game, and if you played this expansion or even did some leveling in this area afterwards, and you completed the quest called Escape from Silverbrook, which says open the wooden cage and help the freed Alliance scout escape from Silverbrook, you will not be able to buy the item because the NPC will be hostile to the Alliance players. So you will need to either buy it off the auction house, or you just use a different character to go get that item, one that hasn't done that quest. And then the fourth and last gray item that you're going to need is the rough wooden staff. And you can go to Dalaran and hit up the inscription vendor. This can be bought at any major city, by the way, so it doesn't have to be Dalaran. If you're in Stormwind, you can get it there too. But you will just hit up the inscription vendor, and it'll be on the vendor there. So that's the first 4 items. The last batch of items is going to require tailoring. So you are going to need a wind wool hood, which is a cloth helm from the Panda training section. This can upgrade when you make it, so make sure it's not upgraded. It has to be a green. So if it's not a green, keep crafting until it is a green. It can upgrade to a blue. You will need 25 wind wool cloth to make the 5 bolts you'll need for this item. The next item is Death Silk Shoulders, which is a cloth shoulders from Cataclysm. You will need 15 Ember Silk and 2 Eternium Thread to make the 3 bolts of Ember Silk that you will need for the crafting of the shoulders. The Frost Woven Leggings is some cloth leggings from the Northrend Tailoring, and you will need 25 Frostweave cloth and 1 Eternium thread to make your 5 bolts of Frostweave to craft these leggings. And then your final one is Netherweave Tunic, which is a cloth chest piece. And this is from Outland Tailoring. And you're going to need 40 Netherweave cloth and 2 rune thread, which will get you 8 bolts of Netherweave so that you can make the tunic. Once you have all these items, what I did is I stashed them all in the bank because you don't need them right away, but it's nice to start with your items all ready for you. And then when you get to that point in the steps, you can just go to the bank and go get your items. So I suggest just putting everything in the bank right now, and let's start on our steps. For step number 1, you're going to Spires of Iraq, which is located in the WoD expansion, and you are going to be going to 3532, and you're going to summon Baal out. You might be wondering, when I was at the mailbox, I had on screen, I said, mail all these items to the character that looted Baal. The reason for that is because a lot of people encountered a little issue at this first step where they would summon out Baal, but the orbs wouldn't appear. But then when they went on a character that was the character that originally got Baal, the orbs were there. So it's quite possible that this bug still exists. So hopefully you remember who obtained Baal. Not totally sure if that's been fixed yet. Yeah, I always just do it on the character that obtains everything. So yeah, I didn't encounter it myself. But anyway, so the orb will be there. All you do is click the orb. Okay, so for step 2, we are going to go hunt down the strange seed. So the strange seed is at a section of the Everbloom, but you want to get out of WoD. You're going to go to Stormwind to see this. There is a portal that you can see the Everbloom from when you're in the city, and that's where your item's going to be. Coordinates for this is 4275. Okay, so for step number 3, we are heading back to the Spires of Iraq, and we're going to 5310. Now, this one took me the longest, actually, to find out of all these steps. So I'm going to make this a little easier for you guys, and I suggest that you get under the water. So you're looking for a little frog here. He is on a rock here, and I was right above him so many times, but it wasn't until I got in the water that I really saw him. Okay, so for step 4, we have the brittle bone. You're going to BC for this one. And you are going to go to the Ogrilla area, which is at the left side of your map. Your coordinates will be 3358, and you're going to want to zoom in for this one. This one was a little tough to find, blends right into the ground, so definitely zoom is your best friend here. Your next step is going to be the misplaced candle, which brings us back to Spires of Iraq again. Sethic Hollows is a good place to start flying to. Coordinates are 6841. Now we're on step 6. We are looking for the Odd Cup, which is going to be Shadow Moon Valley, the WoD version. So your coordinates for this one will be 4526. And this is another one where you may have to zoom in. There's a few items in the area. And you'll see it at a campfire that has some seats around it. So for step number 7, we are in Shadow Moon Valley, but the other Shadow Moon Valley. So you're going to go to BC and fly over to that Shadow Moon Valley. Coordinates are going to be 5143. You may need to zoom in. This is a tough one to see right away. Your colors may blend in a bit. And yeah, but just zoom, once again, is your best friend. So as long as you use zoom, you'll find it no problem. Step 8 is the Blooming Lily. You're going out to Swamp of Sorrows for this one. And it's going to be near the Broken Draenei camp. And the coordinates for that is 5831. And right under this tree in front of us. Your next step will be the Pretty Flower. This is found in the Eastern Plaguelands, and it will be over at the Undercroft. So you're gonna just run through there, and you will be able to just loot it. A little guide point is Zeldar the Outcast is in the same room. So once you've found him, you've found the item. It's over at the corner. Okay, so for step number 10, great place to fly to first would be Darkshire. And then you're going to head into Deadwind Pass. And you're heading towards Karazhan. So the coordinates will be 4179. And you're going to go inside of a chapel. And that's where your old book will be. For your next step, we are going after dead fish. And this one is going to take you over to Blackrock Mountain. So best way to get there is Searing Gorge. So you can fly Searing Gorge, go to Blackrock Mountain, head towards the Blackrock Spire that you see me at right now. That is the meeting stone. And you will just pass by this portal that you see to the left of us, and there's a tiny little room that has the dead fish in it, and you just click on that and you're on your way to the next step. Your next step is going to bring you back to Duskwood, and your coordinates for this next part is 5262. And the item you're looking for is Scratched Board. Your next step will be at Hillsbred Foothills. You're technically going to go into the ruins of Altrak and into this building, and you will find the Lost Ring. This is at 4526. Your next item will take you to Badlands. You're gonna go to the edge of it, as you can see in the top right of the map there. And you're gonna just fly down to this area near the docks, and the inn, it is called the Fuselight by the Sea. It's situated at 9038 in Badlands, and you're just gonna go inside and there'll be a spoiled apple on the table. Just click that and you're done with this step. Okay, so your next step is going to take you into Blasted Lands. You are going to the back of the Altar of Storms. This one was a little tricky, so I've done my best to kind of turn the camera so you can see every angle of this area, and maybe you can find something in this video to use as a guide point to where you're looking for the item. Your next destination is going to be the Burning Steps. Field of Honor is where you're going to find this next item. The coordinates for this is 2747. At this point, you can just hearth out of here. You're going to want to go to Dalaran, but you want the Northrend Dalaran. And you're going to go over to this memorial area. For those that are unaware of this area, it is right next to the secondary bank that is in Dalaran. And you will just see the leaf in the middle of this area. Okay, next up, you're going back to BC, and this time you're going to go to Terrakar Forest, and we're heading to the Oshendown area, and Shadow Labs is your destination. Shadow Labs is a really easy one to detect out of all of the dungeons here because it has a door going to it, whereas the others just have the portal. So once you get there, 4072 is your coordinates, and you're gonna spot a basket that's near the entrance, and that is where your musty cloth will be. Okay, so next up we're going to Twilight Highlands. Best way to do this is to get yourself to Stormwind, or if you're on Horde, Ogrimmar, and you're gonna just take the portal to Twilight Highlands. Basically, you are going to start heading towards the Grim Batal dungeon, and coordinates will be 1757, and you will find the broken tablet near a fence at the entrance there. Also worth noting, this big hammer right in your sight. So just look for a hammer. Okay, next up, we are going to Faralaz, and this is where we will find the Ash Torch. And you can find that at 6168. And that completes step 20. So now it is Grimmy time. But when I did this, I felt so accomplished at this point that I completely stopped what I was doing. I went and grabbed like a hot chocolate and an ice cream. I know who has hot drink with cold food, right? Me, I do. So anyway, I went and did that, treated myself to a little something, and then I came back. So feel free to do that, because I know at this point it's been hours. I know how long the travel took and all that, so definitely spoil yourself a little bit. And then come back, and when you come back, first thing you want to do is go to the city, vendor any items that you might want to vendor right now, and then go to your bank and grab your grays. Make sure you do your vendoring prior, because after you grab your stuff out of the bank, you don't want to be on your repair mount for the rest of the time, and you don't want to activate a vendor. And just to recap on the items, in case you forgot, because it has been a while, you have your 4 grays, Formula Enchant Ring Striking, Punctured Pelt, Rough Wooden Staff, and your Proximos Rudius. And then you have your 4 green cloth items, which is Windwool Hood, Death Silk Shoulders, Frostwoven Leggings, and Netherweave Tunic. And once you have those in your bags, you're good to start going to the next area. Okay, so for our final steps, first thing you're going to do is go to Arathi Highlands, and you want to make sure to go find Zadormi, who's at the coordinates 3885, and change time to the original Arathi Highlands, because you probably are set to BFA. So make sure you are on the original Arathi Highlands. And then we are going to go find Grimmy. He is in a house. He's over at 8573, just on the coast of the Forbidden Sea. So upon entering the house, he'll say, "Oh my, visitors, and I haven't a thing to wear." At this point, you just talk to him. He is going to be very antisocial with you, and he is not going to say a whole lot. So at this point, you want to equip all your greens. So you're going to equip the Windwool Hood, the Death Silk Shoulders, the Netherweave Tunic, and the Frostwoven Leggings. You're not going to look pretty at all in them, but it's just for this little part. So equip that. You will notice a letter that is on the table just near Grimmy. You'll want to click that. This letter spawned by us talking to him the first time. So it says, "List of my friends. First is SN. You always smelt so good. Second is TM. You smelt like burning wood. Third is FD. Though you smelt like fell. Last is OM. I hated that fishy smell." What a great poet. So that is the first letter you will find. Technically, you can see that letter before you put the items on. You talk to them, then you see the letter, and then you put the items on, and then you talk to them again. And that is when another letter will appear, which is at the nightstand to the left of us right now. So you can see in the dialogue, it says, "It's me, your friend. Got any secrets to tell me about? I have no idea what you're talking about." So just go to the nightstand here and click this letter. And it says, "You flaunted your virility and red was never to my liking. Though I wanted to slap you, I always found you striking. You always thought you knew what was best, but not everyone likes greens. Though I waved your way, I pictured your shredded hide in my dreams. Your bread was bad, you diseased lout. It made me sick. I would cheerily beat you with a stick. Last you, I'm not even going to think of a rhyme for you, mugs. I will dance on your grave. You were uniquely terrible." Oh, God. Reading these is a blast, man. Okay, so you have that. Now it's time to go actually visit these people. The first letter was a hint. So we are going to 4 different NPCs. And this is where we'll be using our vendor items, our grays. Our first destination is back over to the Twilight Highlands. We're going to be going to Aquinastraz. So you can find this NPC in Vermilion Redoubt, and you're going to use the slap emote. So just target them and do /slap, and then we can move on to the next one. Just as a side note, your grays are being used as you're using the emotes. So don't worry about doing anything with the grays. You just have to have them on you. So next up, we are in Desolus. Over at Cenarian Wildlands, you are looking for Carnum Marshweaver, and you're going to use the wave emote. Next up, we're going to Zaldrak. Nogra is who we're looking for. He is the general goods vendor at Argentstand. You can just fly right to Argentstand. And you will use the cheer emote on him.
Hail to the night.
And for the final one, we are going to Panda Land. You're going to go to Kunley Summit. And coordinates are circled on the right side, as I'm sure you've noticed the past few NPCs here. And this guy is the innkeeper, and he's actually in the Shadowpond fallback. So you go through here, and he'll be at the bottom. And you're just going to dance with the stained mug. Okay, so now that we've done that, we are finally on the final part. So you're gonna go back to Arethi Highland, and you are gonna return back to Grimmy. Once again, in case you forgot where he is, Arethi Highland 8573. And that will be Grimmy's house. And you're just gonna talk to him again. You will say, "I've sent some messages to your enemies now about those secrets." "Oh, that is excellent, but still After the conversation's done, there's another note that appears. It is over on the fireplace, and this is a recipe that it says. So, a pinch of turmeric and a pound of salt. If it comes out poorly, it's your own fault. Pay attention to the broth and stir, stir, stir. Then add a big handful of board fir. Last, you need a little sour. Get the kick with a little gunpowder." So once you're done with this part, you are going to go outside of the house, and you will spot a huge little farm. well, I guess that's kind of redundant, huge, little, but you'll spot a farm out there, and you need to locate the rotten potato. The rotten potato, even with coordinates, might be a little tough, so it might be best just to see where I am in this maze. But the coordinates are 8869. At this point, I've already found it. I'm just backing up so you can get an idea of how many lines in I am. So we're pretty close to the left here. And so hopefully you just seeing this will help you out. Zoom in. Like I said, even with coordinates, it's a little tough to spot this potato. So once you spot the potato, you need to get a buff, and it needs to be exact. So you're more than welcome to start spamming the key at the beginning, but slow down once you're in the 100 mark. So you're going to have to click the rotten potato 144 times. So this is going to take a bit. You know, have a drink handy so you can be drinking while clicking. And make sure to not go over 144. If you do, you have to start over. So very important. Also worth noting that if you look under the buff that I have the arrow pointing to here, you can see that there's a 2-minute timer on it. So you do have to also do this pretty fast and get back to Grimmy. Easily accomplished. You know, the only reason you would fail this is if you literally AFK'd while doing this. But if you pay attention and you're focused, you'll easily click it enough times and get back to him within the 2 minutes. But just thought I would put that out there in case you are thinking of AFKing. And yeah, you want to be there for all the clicks so that you're paying attention to that timer. Once you get the 144 stacks, you're going to go back to Grimmy. He will say, "How do I smell?" "Oh, my, just like my mother used to after she made her famous pie." "Very well. I will show you my life's work. It's in the chest out back and it's all yours. I hope it was worth it." And he'll mark it, but it's easy to find. You don't really need the marker. So you just go behind his house, and in the treasure chest will be your waste of time. So congrats on finishing this. This was a super long process. Honestly, what made it feel as long as it felt is the travel. You were literally traveling all over the place. So if you have some easy means to some of those locations, definitely use them. A mage would be beneficial for this. I do have a mage. You actually saw the mage grabbing one of the gray items. But I like to do all of this stuff on my main character, which is my druid. So I literally will make things a longer process just to do it on my main. So, but if you don't care, use a mage. A mage would be very, very good. So anyway, here is the waste of time. And this belt is amazing. Amazing. I was happy to waste my time to get this belt. And I just will say that the title is pretty fitting. I spent pretty much all day on this sucker. So yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This will take you a while. Traveling is not your friend in this one. So like I said before, you're going to want to use whatever you can, whether it's a mage or engineering items or, you know, different hearthstones. Luckily, some stuff is in WoD, so you do have the ability to use your garrison hearthstone, and that'll also allow the cooldown to be, you know, off for your regular Hearthstone. So it's not absolutely horrible, but there is a lot of flight that takes a while. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I really like this belt. I think it looks amazing. I need to find a character that it's gonna suit though. So I will have to do that. I will have to find that character. It doesn't really suit my druid because it doesn't really match her colors she uses in the transmog. But it will match someone. Good luck going after this, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. An extra big thanks to the members of the channel, and we will see you in the next video. Bye guys.